I think too, it's interesting that you've been able to discover so much and so much and surface so much, given the fact that she's fairly idiosyncratic, right? She's rejecting the art market
Mm.
and kind of like the usual,
Mhm.
career track and available to her. I mean, her kind of her spiritualist, I mean, her beliefs are informing everything. So the fact that you're able to dig that much deeper is, I mean, she made it hard for you. I'll say, maybe that's a way of putting it.
Okay. Thanks, yeah.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
we all work with and really support the decisions of artists about the ways that they would like to have their work
mhm,
presented,
mhm.
preserved, exhibited, and in a Klimt case, it's very very specific too about not having this work enter a market to be seen together too.
Yeah,
And then we have the very complex situation with her spiritual practice and her strong interest in science, and those things not being like one or the other, but a combination of both.
yeah, and it's not a contradiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably the main and most interesting part, I would say, about Hilma af Klint's work. I have to say, for me, this is going beyond art. I made a very clear point here, of course, to tell, okay, she was first, art history had been written. And honestly, I did that. And now I've done with it. I wouldn't stay here and stand repeating that all the time, because it was very important, I think, because otherwise nobody would have listened. That was my feeling in the beginning. That's how we got the interest of people who say, oh, look, he was someone else. But what I think is so very important is that she is an artist and human being that is really trying to get rid of her own ego and trying to create something really significant. And that is something that you can just get um, if you get rid of your own, yeah, of yourself somehow a bit. And that's the way how she went, and she went with the spiritual way. Actually, and also Kandinsky tried that. I mean, he was interested in the same things as she was. Mondrian was a theosophist his whole life. So we have many, at this time, it was, of course, the zeitgeist somehow, right? But in the end, what I don't understand is, or let's say, what I find so very, very interesting now with her, she's turning now everything upside down. So, of course, the art world is asking themselves, and I do know you, as your museum, you are institutions, you work, you have to make money, and that's completely clear. Why not also include somebody who has a different point of view? This can just open up so many possibilities, and it's so great, because nothing stays as it is. So probably this is a really important. I mean, that she's the only one so far. Maybe we find even more. But this is, oh, there's also, I don't know if you know him, Nikolaus Röhrig, who was also a painter, and he has a museum in New York. And he was also a theosophist and a Buddhist, and living in, yeah, well, in Asia for 20 years. But also, he's not included into the museums because he said, you can't buy my works. And I think this is a very, this is simply tremendous, fantastic thought. That you say, I'm creating something, but it's not about, I'm not going to play the rules that mankind has created on this planet, not life. This is really important. And that's what you feel. And I think this is why people feel so attached by that, because the work really speaks to you. You can connect with the work, because you can also encounter yourself in those works. Not even just it's life, but also part of yourself. And this comes with all the whole philosophy behind that. Hilma af Klint has not only studied those different kind of philosophies, Buddhistic theosophy, she also tried really to make them visible. Yeah, she really made them visible somehow. And this is the first time we really have the feeling that somebody succeeded in that. Because for me, for example, and that is just a personal thing, Kandinsky, I think, who is, I mean, this is a running gag in my film, of course, that I say all the time he wrote it. I'm the first. And I think, well, that's how it was. But he was more interested in a career. And I think that's the reason why he couldn't succeed in this way, how Hilma af Klint succeeded. He made great paintings, no question. But when I'm standing in front of a Kandinsky, I don't feel the same as when I'm standing in front of Hilma af Klint. And actually, I have never experienced anything like that as in a Hilma af Klint exhibition. And that makes it so very, very special. And if it helps to just, to switch or just get your look a little bit in another direction, a lot of is achieved, let's say, yeah? And then you have achieved a lot. And I think everybody can do that. And it makes life even more funny. And I think Hilma af Klint would also like that. And I really like the idea that she's included in museums right now and in shows, because that makes her even more visible, her work, her oeuvre visible. But in the end, I hope she gets her own place. Oh, yeah. I really hope that she gets her own place. I mean, some of her works can travel, but I think we need a place where people can rest and can come to themselves. And actually the temple idea, the whole, the temple, the museum idea, the temple idea of Hilma af Klint is even going much further than the Guggenheim, because Hilma af Klint, she also had this spiral, of course, in the temple, but in the end, she created, you're going through this temple and watching 193 of her paintings. And at the end, you see the altar pieces. And then there's a tower, an astronomic tower in the middle. And then after you have seen everything, you have to walk up the stairs to the tower. And then you watch the universe. And I think this is such a fabulous idea. And as far as I know, nothing like that existed, that I really do hope that the Swedes will build that, or will be able to start this thought, because people will really appreciate that, coming to a place, and that art is now connected really to life can even help all the museums and all the artists, I think, because you take a deeper look.